Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Pull Up Tray podcast. I'm the co host, Samson Folk, and as always, I'm joined by the tray that pulls up, Trevon Heath. Trey, we're going quick, we're going fast. The people like, us getting more information in less time. We're finally along the lines
Yeah.
of consumer habits and
Wow.
trends. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Predicted a win yesterday. They did what they needed to do. 47 wins. It's still on the table. We never gave up. We never gave hope.
I'm not surprised. If you asked me
Yeah.
before the season, if they were at 4-4, I would have been like, yeah, that's reasonable. I
Mhm.
think what I wanted was for them in their first 20 games to be 12-8. That
Yep.
was kind of, I was like, that would be really strong, really good. I don't know if that's on the docket for them, but at 4-4 is a lot better than 1-4. And is there some injury help there on the other side of things? Sure. Some resting, that kind of stuff. Sure. But you play who's in front of you, and the Raptors as a team, even if other teams aren't fully healthy, that a couple of the teams they beat, neither were the Raptors when they lost a couple games. And also, this is a
Yep.
new team trying to gel. I've talked to Darko, a few times over the past couple days, and a lot of what he is echoing is that the route to success in these past wins has been the fact that they get to spend more time trying things, practicing things, and they're getting a better handle on what they're trying to do schematically. And that's where we're sitting, man. That's what we're looking at is a team that is rounding into form a little bit more and got to do so against some lesser talented teams.
Mhm.
And now they'll be up against the Hawks and the Cavs and a healthy Cavs, the vaunted version of the Cavs.
They actually
And
are vaunted.
and we'll see. That'll be a great litmus test, I think. But how do you feel? I know 47 wins is in play. That's great. I love that. But from what you're seeing on both sides of the court, is there any trends that you like?
The offense, it's been absolutely incredible. Just to see nightly 3 guys go for 20 very efficiently, not playing outside of themselves. Because 'cause we've had stretches and bless his heart, like Grady Dick played like Kevin Durant for 20 games, and that always felt like, to some degree, like, unsustainable, but all of these guys are in positions for them to succeed. They're most especially through RJ and Scotty, their buckets are assisted a lot, and they're playing within their offense and exactly what you wanted to see from the beginning of the summer. So I could not be happier the way that they're able to score because we haven't seen a Raptors team that can score like this in a long, long time.
Okay, so to that point, I'll say some numbers that might make people pop out of their seats. Now we're only 8 games in, but the Raptors are ranked seventh in offense, 16th in defense. They're seventh in half court offense. Now, for people who don't know, this would be their highest ranking since the 2017-18 season. They're currently 7 versus 8, higher than the championship Raptors were ranked during the regular season for their offense, and their offense points per play overall is the highest it's been in their history. Now, some of that is obviously the pace of play factoring in, and teams didn't score as much in the olden days, halcyon days, but they're scoring for this team, for this era, especially at a basically unprecedented rate. Seventh is very good for me. Do you want to dive into why this is working and why we're here?
Yeah,
Okay, so do you remember we did a lot of whinging and complaining about the pull-up shooting last year and
tons.
on ball creation in general, and
Yes.
the reason why you and I, as far as especially media didn't really love the Brandon Ingram trade. I think fans liked it, but we were the two media members who were like, "Oh, we like it."
Yes.
And it was because we thought it brought things that they really needed to make them competitive. And the contender question around this team is not interesting to me, but the competitor question is the 44 to 47 win frame window is. And they went from being bottom three pull up team last season. Right now, they are top five from bottom to top. How do you feel about the pull up vacation, the half the name of our podcast of the Raptors so far this season?
Every Brandon Ingram bucket feels like it's 5 or 6 points every time he scores. Even yesterday, he didn't score that much, but because of the type of shots that he's making, it allows them to play within the flow of their offense throughout the entire game. The Raptors, like last season, they run through tons of beautiful actions. They get tons of easy looks that are passable at the rim and both at the 3-point line. But a lot of that is based upon the fact that they didn't have anyone that could dribble and create in between those areas. They now have a guy that does that at like the highest level. And it allows you not to go in those droughts where you can't find a bucket because you can't get into any of your actions. You can throw him the ball, and AJ Green, there's nothing he can do because he's that talented. Like the pull up shooting has been outstanding. Scotty is hitting threes at a really high clip. He's 7 of 22 thus far, and
Yeah, and
all the
just for the
shots.
listeners, he's hit 7 out of the Raptors' 22 total. So
Yeah,
he's hit a third of the Raptors' pull-up threes on the season just
that's
from
nuts.
Scotty Barnes.
And none of the shots that he's taking is you feel as though that it's bailing out the defense in the same way that it was last year. All of it is happening in flow, and he's taking shots that the defense allows and is doing everything that you would have asked for. So the injection of Brandon Ingram and his shot ability has taken the offense to another level.
The big thing with Brandon is that he's not taking any of the easy shots available. We talked about this prior, but he's over 40% on contested catch and shoot threes. So those are shots that other guys miss. He just hits a higher percentage of them. He's also shooting 55% on his pull up middies. He's responsible for over half of the pull up middies that the Raptors have made on the whole season. And those are the ones that kill droughts, that save
Yep.
the Raptors when they're not scoring. And RJ is fourth in the NBA in transition points per game at 7.9. Scotty is ninth in the NBA in transition scoring at 7.3 points per game. Like Scotty and RJ, credit to them for going out and getting their numbers, and the Raptors are a high frequency transition team. But Brandon is the guy when the game slows down who's really about saving the team. And when we look at half court numbers, the seventh overall ranking for the Raptors, so much of it has to do with Brandon Ingram being like an 85th percentile isolation scorer this year, with him being a really strong presence out of handoffs and screens, and with him being a guy who can play out of the pick and roll to a point per possession in all creation, going one way or the other, a shot or a pass. So he has lifted up the half court and to such a degree where he's taking all the bad shots and giving you above average shooting on them, that the easy shots being dispersed around the roster, that's where their efficiency is coming from, is asking Brandon to do really hard things and then having guys slot into those easier roles. It's what you and I thought it would be, or at least had hoped,
Yes,
and
the
it's come to fruition.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like in the pick and roll, they've been super successful. They're above average scoring as pick and roll ball handlers. They're passable and spot ups. Teams are asking them to take shots when they're hitting them right now. Um, and the really good thing, especially with the spot up shooting, a lot of the spot ups that teams are daring them to make are from the corner. They're still getting to actions. They're still creating rotations, and it's Scotty Barnes in the corner, which is the easiest three to make. You can live with him taking threes from that spot. RJ can take handoffs and score from there and score in such unique ways, whether he gets the ball as a pick and roll ball handler, second side actions, being a cutter. The Raptors, which is crazy to say, is blowing my mind, are so nuanced in what they do on all
Hmm.
three levels and the way that they're able to score, whether they flip from the bench from their starters. It's it's everything that you'd hope to see, honestly. And I don't think it's unsustainable. I don't know if they're going to be top 10 in the league in there, but I'm expecting a top half of the league offense from these guys.
Yeah, and the transition frequency should really help them in that
Mhm.
regard. Coming into last night's game, their half court offense was lagging a little bit behind their ranking of total offense, and they're equally ranked right now, 7-7. But I don't think that'll stay. The half
Yeah.
court offense, it would make sense to me if it dips a little bit. I don't know if it's relative to the league better than the championship Raptors or as well equipped for, let's say, a championship run. But as you mentioned, the Raptors are above average scoring for pick and roll ball handlers. This is all per synergy, by the way, listeners. And they're just below, they're in just into the lower half of the league as far as like scoring out of spot ups. With guys like Gradey's at 36% three, Jacoby's under 30, Emmanuel's under 30, Ochai's under 10. You know, like they need better 3-point shooting, and those are the guys who take the bulk of the spot up looks. So far, the bulk of the spot up looks has relied upon some uniquely hot shooting streaks from the likes of RJ Barrett, who actually I wouldn't describe his as a hot
Yeah,
shooting
that's
streak.
his usual numbers.
He's just been a good, solid catch and shoot 3-point shooter, which is his whole thing. It's since he's been a Raptor. Colin Murray Boyles shooting a little bit better than you might expect. Scotty, the same thing, but they have a lot to prove as far as like the bench guys stepping into that. The real pay dirt, as you said, is in handoffs, off screens, and getting the ball to roll men. As far as the roll men, we've talked about this. Scotty, he is their highest volume roll man. That probably won't be
Ugh.
static over the course of the season. Jakob Poeltl will probably take that status from him. But CMB is second. And both of them, CMB is very efficient scoring as the roller, and Scotty is strongly efficient scoring as the roller. These guys who are undersized for that archetype, let's say, are giving the Raptors efficiency. Off screens, Ingram has almost half of the Raptors' total volume. And that's what they should be doing is when they just need a bucket, flatten out, have him run off a screen and work with a step on somebody. And he's a
Yeah.
really brilliant offensive player. See if he can work his way to that 63, 62% true shooting and see what he creates. Easy. A half court hack. Gradey is 4 of 6 off of screens this year. And that's not counting the fact that he runs down off those screens with a head of
Mhm.
steam and flails himself out the rim and takes a bunch of free throws. It's how he scores 14 points on 4 shots last night. It's how he scored, what, 21 on like 12 in the opener. He had 11 or 12 in the second game of the season on like 4 or 5 shots. It's the free throw line. It matters.
Yep.
And handoffs, RJ has been a total hero. The handoff stuff has been incredible for him. He's been very efficient, whether it's playmaking or scoring himself. That was one of the plays that the Raptors went to when they needed to stop the Bucks run last night. Is like, hey, Giannis is running roughshod. We need to score with him. Let's bring 3 guys to one side of the court, and we'll have RJ run off of a handoff with Jakob with an empty side, and it becomes a layup immediately because RJ is great at keeping guys on his hip. He's great at making the pocket pass, and Jakob can obviously roll to the rim. They just what is missing here? You know, like obviously you said at the
Yeah.
top, this is we grew up in the 2000s. Like we're 90s kids, but watching basketball in the 2000s, the idea of a team that had 3 20-point per game scorers
Yeah.
was like, these guys are insane. And I'm sure
Yeah.
that's scratching an inch in your brain, right? But is there anything you're looking for still?
Yeah, you still want some of the shoot, like you said, the shooting from some other guys. We haven't even seen this offense how it looks. You kind of saw in the first half the other night of what it looks like when Emmanuel quickly is hitting shots off movement and off rhythm for a full game. We still haven't seen that yet. And you could see like within the offense, like all those looks are available to him. Whether that's him him throwing the ball into Brandon and running off of a weak side action, whether that's him snaking through pick and roll, finding an open man, him getting to the rim, and hopefully like some of that rim finishing stabilizes eventually. We that spot it's we've seen it through the 3 years that Darko's been the coach here. The point guard spot so he has so much emphasis on that spot. It's the spot where you have the most opportunities to play make and score out of, and he hasn't necessarily done that. So I think as some of their shot making, I don't expect BI to hit 60% of his mid range jumpers all year. That's just absurd.
Well, you cross your fingers. He has
Yeah,
the talent, you know?
he does. If he scores 45% of those and quick ends up hitting 39% of his threes this year, it's a massive win, and there'll be a great offense. They
Can
just
I tell
need
you?
their
I
big gun.
I'm not taking less than 50% from Ingram on those. I think
Oh,
well guys
ooh,
guys like KD typically sit above 55, and
yeah,
while he's not KD, guys like Seth Curry sit above 55, like Zach Levine, Devin Booker, Ingram, if Brett Usher's going to keep tweeting out the, mid-range artistry,
pure.
you know what I mean? Pure. I need north of 50, I think. That's where you're really strong. That's where you're really strong.
Yeah, if he hits 50% of their mid range jumpers, they're going to be an absolute force because some of BI's playmaking I don't think has really popped yet,
Right.
but if he's drawing so much gravity from the mid range, because right now the Bucks kind of left him in isolation. If teams have to double off that, Scotty is a play finisher, Yak's a play finisher, CMB. It just makes the offense significantly easier for everybody around him.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that Ingram, he's not drawing these huge rotations.
Yeah,
And to teams' detriment because he is 85th percentile in isolation and he is shooting 55% on his pull-up middies and he hasn't even had a great driving stretch necessarily. Like there's more on the table for him as a scorer and he's still already so efficient and putting up numbers that he has so much latent ability to play make that once teams decide like, well, maybe this is a top 10 offense, maybe we have to adjust how we
yeah,
guard them, then maybe we see some of that playmaking manifest. To the quickly point, I'll give him credit. Last game, he was far better at keeping his
yeah.
dribble alive. And over the past few games, he's been pretty strong at hunting 3-point volume. The threes aren't coming easily for him, but he's got a quicker trigger. He's a great shooter. He's supposed to have a quick trigger. And Josh Lewinberg asked Darko after last night's game about like quickly not like having like a tough thing. And then Darko was like, who's saying that? He's like, you guys are saying that. Media, fans are saying that. He's like, not us in here. We think he's doing just fine. So the team has his back and will embolden him to keep being himself. And honestly, that's all anybody. Listen, the quickly all-star stuff, you and I never liked it.
Yeah.
Kick it away. Who cares? Good guard stuff? Hell yeah. It's attainable. It's there. He can make it happen. Do you want to talk about a guy who's been pretty strong guard off the bench? He was fourth in assists off the bench last year, as you really enjoyed telling
Oh,
me. We got to talk about the Raptors bench. These are the guys who they're not the best players on the team, but by gum, they have 1 minutes. They
yes.
have 1 minutes, like nonstop. So we have three main guys: Grady Dick, Jamal Shead, Sandro. And important so far this season, I would go Sandro, Jamal, Grady.
Yep, agreed.
Who do you want to talk about first there?
Let's talk about Jamal. I think he's the most surprising of the three, honestly.
Okay, so the quick stuff on Jamal, he's top five in assists off the bench. He's nearly equaling Quickly's assist output. And there's, as always, I say with the Raptors, especially their guards and centers, the assist numbers take it with a little grain of salt. The offense is doing some work there. Their transition frequency is doing some work there, but Shed is not relying on it right now. His ability to push pace as the lead guard on the floor, get paint touches, quite frankly,
Yes.
move the ball on, make quick decisions, and shoot north of 40% from three. That is driving a lot of the Raptors' success offensively when he's on the floor. As an offensive guard, he's been very strong, I think.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Oh, I think
You
with
got tip those caps, man.
yeah, he did it. Summer league doesn't matter, man. It's just a good time. um, with Jamal, like everything starts, I think, with him with his driving ability. He's one of the best drivers on the team, which is something I don't think many people thought would translate from college. Like he is lightning fast.
Mhm.
I think last year what kind of held him back is that he's stopping short of the rim, taking floaters, or it's a short roll pass. He's getting deep into the paint, actually forcing defenses to make rotations. The the drive that he had off of his closeout, because he's hitting shots, teams are reacting to his three. He drove off of a closeout, got to the paint, dish to Scotty. That is, if he can do that for his entire NBA career, he will play for many, many years because he has tenacity on defense. And if his 3-point shot so far in his NBA career is like acceptable, and with that driving ability, he's going to be able to change the pace when bench lineups come in, add more intensity. Darko can probably experiment with picking up much higher when those bench lineups are out. It offers a different sense of pace and urgency. And you kind of saw the Raptors broke away in terms of their lead. They just outpaced the Bucks once the bench lineup came on, which is great to see.
We love it, man.
Yeah.
Jamal, I have always said that he can drive the daggum basketball. What I was worried about was the defense. The defense it hasn't wowed me this year. but
Yeah.
it's been passable, and the offense, he deserves a lot of credit.
Mhm.
He is plus 32 in his 137 minutes this year. That is good for plus 21.6 per 100. That's one of the highest marks in the league. Just so we know this bench trio, the most consistent bench players, Gradey, Shead, and Sandro. Sandro plus 50 in his 141 minutes. Gradey plus 54 in his 130 minutes. Gradey has the highest plus minus per 100 on the team of the qualified guys. Jamison Battles goes even farther north, except he hasn't played enough minutes to qualify. But I guess let's talk Sandro, because I talked to Sandro last night. He was a fun interview. He was good. He was jovial, and he seemed like he was really enjoying the opportunity to, one, really step into a rotation consistently as a Raptor, two, really show some of his game, and three, just take threes when they come his way. We've talked about it a little bit before. His presence as a stretch five facilitates offense in a way that Jakob doesn't. Scotty and Mamu as a pairing has been very strong. It's very good. You can read Louis Zatzman's piece on Scotty's scoring this year at RaptorsRepublic.com. Trevon, please enlighten me on what you see in Sandro Mamukelashvili.
First, I'll say Bobby Webster. If we get this level of play all year,
Woo!
I will bow. I will tip my hat to you. CMB, I can't give you that much credit for. I feel like there was only so many options at 9, but
You think? I think he's just watching the podcast, man. You
he was like,
listen,
oh
and that we had a Derek Queen versus CMB debate,
yeah,
and Bobby thought I won. Well,
yeah,
you
fair
win some,
enough.
but Derek had a hell of a game last
He
night.
did. Oh man, but Sandro has been amazing. Like those bench lines with him and Scotty together have been destroying teams just simply because it gives Scotty more space to be an active driver. Mamu is his three has been to a point where defenses have to guard it, and he is amazing off of closeouts. He can drive the ball really well. He has good footwork and pace to change speeds when he's getting down in the lane and has good touch. It's offered a different look for defenses to adjust to. Whereas with the starting group, you feel okay at letting a lot of those guys shoot the basketball. They're playing a really high pace. They cover ground a lot when Sandro's on the court together, on the court with Scotty, and I think they truly have something with those lineups.
Yep.
I think long term in terms of like pairing, like I could see Bi Yaka being with the bench, utilize that pick and roll, allow Bi to work with shooters around him, and then that Scotty Mamu lineup where you want to play more chaotic on defense, allow Scotty to get downhill as a driver, and it offers balance and allows multiple guys to kind of get their own time to shine and do what they want to do offensively. But so far, like if he could, Sandro continues this play, he's like a top 3 Raptor acquisition in free agency, which is nuts to say.
So to make the point quickly, there we have our starting lineup, right? We know it's Emmanuel Quickly, it's Brandon Ingram, it's RJ Barrett, it's Scotty Barnes. We have three iterations that there's high volume possessions, and that starting lineup with Jakob, 135 possessions, big negative, minus 13 per 100 possessions, getting killed. They have that with CMB, 76 possessions, minus 31 per 100 possessions, getting killed. Then it goes to Sandro, plus 32 per 100 possessions. It's doing extremely well. This theory of these four players playing together seems like, oh God, oh no, until you put a stretch big there. And then suddenly it's like, oh, something works. This isn't to say that Sandro is better than Jakob, just that archetype and fit in the NBA, it reigns supreme in a way that it just never has. Team building is very nuanced, it's very specific, pedantic, even, and lineup data isn't everything, but there's some big shouting numbers at us right now. Also, just as a point, Gradey and Sandro, these guys have huge, big, massive defensive on offs, which means that the Raptors are really, really strong defending when those guys are out there. By no means zero at all. am I going to try and tell you that I think Sandro and especially Gradey are strong defenders? There's currently a weird thing happening right now when those guys are out there. Teams are shooting like 18% worse from three. That
Crazy.
helps swing some possessions. That's not going to stay the whole time, but it also does suggest like these guys aren't going to tank the defense as much as some people worried about. That is more meaningful for Gradey than I think for Sandro because Sandro, I don't think people thought he would tank the defense, just that he probably wouldn't elevate it. The numbers currently say that he's elevating it a little bit. I'm skeptical of that, but I am not skeptical of that offensive fit. He's shooting the piss out of that ball,
Piss, yeah.
brother. Shooting the piss out of that ball, and he's driving the piss out of that ball. When I talked to him last night, he seemed very happy that I acknowledged that the best skill he has is his driving. He was like, "Hell yeah, dude." And he was like, "That's more so when I get to play with the national team. They let me cook." And he sounded like he even wants to drive the ball more as a Raptor, but that they're saying like, "Hey, make sure you shoot some too, brother. Like we need that. We need that 3-point shooting, that stretch aspect." He's been great. This leaves one guy left on the table. Gradey Dick, plus 54 in 130 minutes, just keeps winning. The plus
Mhm.
minus king for the Raptors. What do you make of it? Because some of it is plus minus nonsense, but
Yeah.
some of it
The
is that worries are maybe a little bit too worrisome about him sometimes.
yeah, like, the Bucks game, they did punish their reserves immense lineup towards the end, but I still think the way you see teams play the Raptors when Grady's on the court is super important and enlightening to know. As, like, some of his shot making improves, teams are bailing out trying to make sure that he gets off the line, and when he attacks closeouts, he's either turning into free throws or turning that into an advantage that can be extended for anybody else. His playmaking kind of popped towards the end of the game just because they were scrambling trying to get him because off the line because he was hitting every spot up three that he has. He's gotten to a point where when the Raptors are in a funk or they can't generate a good look, he needs to be on the court just simply because he's one of the rare players on the team that actually has gravity for what they do. And you saw it in even in that game when he gets free looks, they're going in. He's going to score. So defenses are reacting accordingly. He just needs some of the in between stuff to fall down and some of the hard contested shots to fall.
The big thing, it has not manifested in assists, not remotely. He has like
Yeah.
point 0.3 assists per game. One is because they ask him to shoot a lot, and he told me as much in our interview at training camp. Is he's like, no, they're asking me like shoot it when you get the ball, but he's made. I had those tweets where I was illustrating that he's leaving playmaking reads on the table, in my opinion, and creating harder shots than what he could create for others. And some of that was like he's hardly touching the ball. He probably wants to shoot it when he comes his way. But and Grady doesn't read my tweets. He doesn't care. But since that came out, he's done a fantastic job at moving the
Yeah.
ball on. The clip that went semi-viral of them pinging the ball around, the guy who had two paint touches on that possession was Grady, and he
Mhm.
made the two like more or less definitive passes of that possession, and it was him bringing a huge closeout, driving it, and pushing the ball for like a skip or something like that, creating these overloads. And the 8 points per game I think he's at or something like that, it doesn't look super impressive, but I had a reply that said, "It's not a glamorous life to be a movement shooter in the NBA. It's not. You gotta run a lot, you gotta drag team defense
Yeah.
everywhere, and not everything is gonna be rewarded." If it's 8 points per game, his true shooting is back up to 60% again. It's early season, this thing is pinging up and
Yeah.
down like crazy, but if he gives you, like, 8 or 9 points per game, wins minutes, and everyone else has an easier time when he's out there, and he doesn't get mauled and killed on defense, then I think you're looking at for a third year player who is very young when he came out of the draft. That's you're moving in a very strong direction. Not for stardom. This isn't like last year where he started out averaging like 24 points over the first 8 games or something,
Insane.
which is crazy. But you're moving towards like sustainable NBA career, and that's what we're hoping for every player on this roster.
Mhm.
And, Jamal is making inroads there. Sandro, we were pretty certain of before the season. Gradey, we want to see it. To leave it to the three extra guys on the bench, well, four if you include Mobo, but he's been thought of a lot less than everyone else. And, for obvious reasons, even though we still
Yeah.
like him. Jacoby, Ochai, Jamison. What do you think, man? Are there any interesting developments there to your eye?
Uh, Jacoby Walter hasn't hit many shots, so I'm not gonna give him too much praise. But his defense is everything that you want to see. He's one of the few guys that can execute, picking up high, maintaining, being sticky and maintaining with the ball handler at the level.
He's the best
And
at it.
yeah,
I don't
by
even think it's close. You watch him, you're just like, damn, guys can't shake him.
yeah, he's physical. He moves really well. He's a guy that you can see if the shot falls that he can be irreplaceable in the rotation. And it looks like the Raptors have a clear 9 right now. The 10th guy is going to be dependent on who plays well between Ochai and Jacoby. I think Jacoby deserves minutes just because of the higher upside from the defense. Like Ochai had similar to what we said in our last pod. We're doing so many now.
Hmm.
Um, the type of shots that he's getting are completely different. So he just has been less valuable on the team. They don't need him to hit a million corner threes. I mean, because that's now been shifted to RJ Barrett's looks, shifted to Scotty Barnes' looks. They need guys that can defend and fuck up the play, get in there and be sticky. And he's the guy that can do that and could really help lineups. But he has to hit jump shots. So I'm hoping that sticks and that he is their 10th guy and it allows them to have tons of flexibility.
I Jacoby, it's more fun that way. I also would be remiss. Ochai is playing less minutes, but he's won a lot of them too. And he's also kind of included in that weird 3-point aberration thing. The big guys who are affected by it so far and this is also credit to Jamal Shead. He's winning his minutes like crazy. Teams are shooting better from three when he's on the floor. So there's not like that weird, insane, like, well, that probably comes around thing. So credit to Jamal. But as far as Jacoby and Ochai, I don't know how it shakes out. I said before the season that I thought year three would be the big one for Jacoby, that the seas would part for his role.
Yeah.
And but if it's year two, then I think that means that he's made a leap quicker. I think if it were year two, that would be great. And that would really say something about his game. And if it's year three, I don't feel any worse about his game. I think it's
Mhm.
just depth chart stuff. Ochai, he put uh he put on tape last year, very important season for him, for his future. Even if things are weird for him this year as far as like being prioritized, last year is going to mean something on the open market. And at least he has that. It also could be that like he finds his touch and that the Raptors want dependability from that spot and he could find his way back in. He could bump Grady. It could be anything. But early
Yeah.
on, the Raptors, when they were winning games, they had a pretty good idea about what they wanted there. Bench stuff. It's been it's gone really well, the
It's been
bench.
great. Yeah.
The starting lineup, killed,
Yeah.
demolished. But the bench is those transitional lineups, they're
Mm.
coming in and they're winning games like the Dickens, man. It's been very impressive. The two highest winning lineups as far as they win a lot of minutes and they are, I guess they have a okay level of possessions. And keep in mind, possession stats don't normalize to like way higher. So this is cannon fodder we're reading into. But they just have Mamu in them. And they have like Gradey in them. And that's just how it works out.
Yeah.
Jacoby also strangely has negative on offs this year, but again, cannon fodder. There's if they're looking for a sticky guy out there, they're also trying out some Jacoby point guard stuff. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've been noticing that too.
Yeah.
The
Please
bring
no.
up the bring up ball handler stuff, it's kind of akin to Patrick McCaw. It reminds me a little bit of how McCaw
Mm.
used to get
Same.
used, where the
Totally.
Raptors were like, well, we'll bring up someone different because we want to prioritize our guys in like a set lower in the floor, and we'll keep Jacoby up there, and maybe he'll get some catch and shoot looks out of it. Maybe he'll get to attack a closeout or two, and it lessens the load on someone else. Basketball stuff. Is there anything else from the Raptors that you find interesting before we tee up, before we talk about their games against the do you remember when we previewed a whole game against the Brooklyn
Yes.
Nets that didn't exist? Oh man, halcyon days. That was so funny.
Oh,
Regardless, the Raptors have the Hawks up next Friday, then they have the 76ers. Then they have the Nets and then the Cavs. That's their next 4. Can I get a prediction on can we go 3 and 1, 2 and 2? What's the prediction here?
I'm 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 gonna predict 2-2. It's still a pretty tough schedule. Like the Hawks, I think they'll still be able to win that game. They're a team that relies on one ball handler. The Raptors love to get the ball out of the primary guy, so just schematically, it's a really good fit. The Sixers is a
Also,
tough one.
Trey might be out for that game. Like he's still out with his knee right
Oh yeah,
now.
you're right. The Sixers are a tough one. Their backcourt looks like one of the best in the NBA. Joel at some point has to start playing better. I just don't see how they're going to be able to stop Tyrese from getting to the rim. There's no one on the team that can do that right now, which is tough.
Also, if we think the second night of a back-to-back affected
Yeah.
how the Bucks like maybe they still beat the Bucks, right? Give them the credit they deserve, but maybe it's a little bit more competitive. Maybe Giannis doesn't play 24 minutes if it's not the second night of a back-to-back. The Raptors will be on one against the 76ers Saturday night.
Yeah. And then the Brooklyn, if you lose to the Brooklyn, that's so help me God.
Michael Porter Jr. leads them in assists per game. You can't lose to this team. You cannot lose to a team where Michael Porter Jr. leads them in assists.
Oh, there's very few times where you seriously could debate if like Real Madrid could take a team and not lose by 20. This team is one of those times, honestly. But
What do you think
they
of
have to win.
Yegor Demon was everyone is saying he's like the most passive player since
Yeah.
just that physically he only takes threes. He's like sitting on the outskirts of the game constantly and he's just having trouble. His body needs to develop for sure.
Yeah. So they're a team in rebuilding. Losing by 15 to them is moral victories. We've been there before, so we'll offer them that. And then we're playing the vaunted Cavs with Darius Garland back. He probably had a few games to get back in rhythm, so I'm not expecting him to win a game against those guys. So 2-2 would be totally acceptable.
I tell you what, they go 3 and 1. I'm
Yeah,
I'm feeling really good. And especially like let's say Maxi and Edgecombe bomb atomically from downtown and
yeah,
shoot jumpers and relentlessly attack the rim. And Embiid, I don't know if he'll be in that game because it's always hit or miss with him.
yeah.
Let's say the 76ers, and it's just like, damn, we got gamed by an unbelievable backcourt. If they beat these Cavs, man, if they beat these
Yeah.
Cavs, I'm gonna start feeling the type of way.
Oh,
That would be I would be very, very impressed. We'll obviously have, especially with the Nets game and the Cavs game, we'll have an opportunity to really, really preview those games. For the upcoming 2 before that, 76ers, Hawks, they have a chance to go 2-0. They really do.
yep.
Um, but we'll see how all that goes. That's about a podcast, don't you think?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
We'll leave the wrestling story for when it's a little bit more dry. We actually did get 40 minutes out of this.
We
It's not
did.
so bad at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was dark times last year. Dark times.
We were February, it's draft podcast, half of it. We
Yeah,
have we're running all of our like peanut punch, Mountain Dew. We're trying to get sponsored advertisements, like we're doing public outreach
yeah.
and we're telling wrestling stories and
Oh,
we're complaining about Yabusele and Lasorte like every second
yeah, that
podcast
game
and
ruined me.
reliving. Oh man, a tough scene.
Oh.
Uh you anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Again, prayers for Jamaica. I'll keep saying it, but I also want to say it is so refreshing to see a team that is good. The Bucks game is probably one of the most enjoyable Raptors game we've seen. Even the Hawks game as well. Just to see that they're a team that's truly trying to punch up and trying to be a successful team. We haven't seen that for almost as long as we've been doing this podcast, so we're lucky.
Also, before, like, obviously prayers to Jamaica, yes, but you're like more closely tied to that than probably a lot of people listening.
Yes.
Is there anything you trust or have seen that if you could urge people to donate or help out, is there any suggestions you have?
There's a government link to Jamaica that you can donate and offer money to. Perishable goods are great as well. There's tons of donation areas in Little Jamaica across the city as well. Any little bit that you give helps and it's truly appreciated.
Okay. Hell yeah. From myself, also prayers to Jamaica. Also like watching a good basketball team. As we said before, myself and Trey, since we were kids, trying to see 3 20 point per game scorers on the same team. We didn't even see it with like Bosch and Wade, and LeBron didn't even do it.
Yeah,
And yet RJ, Ingram, and Scotty are. Oh, you're kidding.
man,
Get out of town.
we're
Uh,
cooking.
yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in with us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hype, all that kind of stuff. We are one of Canada's favorite basketball podcasts, but we want to be number one. We're on up and up, and we are trying. Thank you. Your listenership helps us there. The likes, the comments, all that kind of stuff does as well. And we're close to 15,000 subscribers. So help us keep climbing. I know a lot of people are discovering us this year. So thanks for tuning in with us. From myself and Trevon, have a blessed day. Go Raptors, and goodbye.